man whose family is steeped in Western New York history. Capitol Hill's correspondent for NBC News, Luke Russert, here on The Rich Eisen Show. How you been, Luke?
Hey, good to hear you, Rich. I hope you recovered from the Michigan-Ohio State game.
Oh, look, Luke, I'm licking my wounds. I'm waiting for that 30 for 30 on the Michigan State punt. I'm waiting for that one.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for that one to happen.
Yeah, I won't be co-producing that one. I'd like to have that in the vault of history, never to be seen again. But look, man, you are part of something that is very moving and very beautiful. There's no other way to put it for this 30 for 30. It's a beautiful documentary. What were you hoping to achieve out of Four Falls of Buffalo?
So it's interesting. I was approached a few years ago by Ken Rogers, and he really is the brain behind this. And he, if you don't know, is really the person who's behind Hard Knocks, which we all enjoy on HBO and is some of the best football video, I would argue sports video, that we've ever seen. And it was sort of this idea that he got from Jim Kelly when Jim Kelly was participating in that documentary about the '83 quarterback class and Elway and Marino, and essentially said, hey, you should do something on the 4 Super Bowl teams that we had, which lost in a row. And Ken called me up because he knew I was friends with the late, great Steve Sable of NFL Films and said, do you have any ideas? We maybe put this through the prism of how your family has been fans of this team and what it means to the city. And then I kind of came to the idea of the best focus would really be on this team because in the course of research, we found out that a lot of these guys had never watched those Super Bowls. A lot of them had never even gone back and really thought about them at length. It was sort of the ultimate just sweep it under the rug and we'll deal with that at some point later in our life. And through the course of this film, not only were we able to get Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith to actually sit down and watch the Super Bowls, we were really able to get Jim Kelly to open up about them as well. And then it also is a story of redemption, not only about Scott Norwood and how he missed that kick and was able to come back to Buffalo and actually was successful the following year, but then also Jim Kelly's own personal battle with cancer that is then pushed on all the loss of sport, but then the possible loss of life and the death of his son as well that plays into it. So it kind of, I would say, is a real it pulls on the strings of human emotion. It's beyond sports. It's really a story about understanding the human psyche in the face of insurmountable loss and what really is important and what folks take away from it.
Luke Russert joining me here on The Rich Eisen Show. Are you calling from Capitol Hill right now, Luke?
I am indeed. I'm actually in the literal Capitol itself.
Very nice. From the seat of power, Luke Russert calling to the Rich Eisen Show. What's your favorite story from this documentary? There's tons of them, so I know you're not giving away too many of them.
So many. I mean, one thing that I was just sort of raised on at that era was that, well, the AFC had not won a Super Bowl for some time, and so there was this streak of the NFC, and the NFC was dominant. In the course of the research for this film, we found out the Bills, they were 14-2 against the NFC during the regular season during those Super Bowl years. That was a fascinating stat that jumped out to me. However, I think the story within the story, more than anything, is really Scott Norwood, because he's taken on this persona as the scapegoat, the guy who lost the first Super Bowl with the famous wide right, which is literally shown on every single NFL pregame, postgame show. Somehow it's in there. Our good mutual friend Keith Olbermann even had that in the beginning of his show when it was on ESPN. It's always around somewhere. And Norwood opens up and says, yeah, I feel so bad, but then has all this grace and all this humility that you end up just wanting to give him a hug, and you end up rooting for the guy. I think more so than any other player from that team, if that's possible. I think when Buffalo sees this, they'll probably appreciate Scott Norwood to the same level which they do the heroes. We count the Mount Rushmore of the Bills, Thurman, Andre, Bruce, and Jim.
And then there's a story of Don Beebe, because we all know about the play where he knocks the ball away from Lett, and then he actually was he's the only member of those Buffalo Bills to actually go on to win a Super Bowl with another team. Correct,
yeah,
Luke?
The 24 guys who went to all 4, he's the only one. And if there is ever a play that I think is emblematic of the Buffalo Bills and of Buffalo and Western New York, it is that play by Beebe. He runs down what is sure to be the touchdown in the Super Bowl, first one against Dallas. Leon Lett, he showboats at the end. Beebe knocks it out, stops the touchdown from happening. The Bills got crushed that game. It was 52-17, I believe the final score was. But what Beebe does in this film, and I think a lot of parents will like this, is that he reads the letters that he got from fans after that game that he still keeps in a tin in the top of his office desk. And he talks about how fathers, mothers wrote him and said, you know what, there is never a better example for me to be able to share a moment with my kids watching football, watching sports, and what you did on that one play. Even though you lost, it showed so much about what character is, what matters. And Beebe said it really affected him for life. And then he also talks about his feelings that he had when he won with the Packers and how even though it was a wonderful accomplishment, there was something missing, and that was his friends who had been on those 4 teams.
Yeah, and then there's a part in it where after Favre kneels down for that Super Bowl victory for the Packers, something he says to Beebe. I mean, there's so I don't know if I want to give that away, but that's part of so many moving moments of 4 Falls of Buffalo. This 30 for 30, Luke. You know, it's you did a great job, man. I want to just.
Well, I appreciate it, and all credit to the
Ken
folks
Rogers.
at NFL Films
Sure.
who've gone through it. And the other thing that I think we often look past is, well, they're losers, and the media was really against the Bills in the final 2 Super Bowls. And there's a player from Pittsburgh who, when the Bills beat him in one of the playoff games, I forgot his name at the top of my head, but basically goes, well, we're the best team, and we all know what they're going to do. They're just going to go lose the Super Bowl. And that sort of attitude you saw was in the media, oh, my gosh, no, not the Bills again. And we haven't really seen that
Luke,
very much in sports. Is where else has success been so denigrated by so many?
Well, Luke, I remember that. I remember that. I remember your dad asking people to pray for the Bills. I remember him bringing your grandfather on the set the year later, and there was Bills fatigue. It was like it was as if they were hijacking the greatest game of the season in a way that everybody knew or felt that it would not be a good game because the Bills made it again. There was no question a sentiment about that back in that day. Luke.
It's remarkable, and I don't think you necessarily see that anymore to that degree. Of course, I don't think you'll see another team go to 4 straight Super Bowls anymore with the salary cap era the way it is now. It's really a tremendous accomplishment.
Chris Brockman, my colleague here, pointed out this: the Seahawks are halfway there, and they seem to be, coagulating is a way to put it right now.
What an accomplishment that would be.
Yeah, what would your dad think of Rex Ryan, Luke?
That's a good question. I think that he definitely would have welcomed Rex Ryan's blue-collar persona, having the wings and the beer right when he got hired, right out there outside of the Ralph. I do think, though, if there was one thing my father was very particular about, it was being well prepared and paying close attention to detail. And we saw in the Kansas City game that was a little lacking from Coach Ryan. So I think if, in all fairness, he would say he loves the bravado, he loves the persona, but let's pay attention to detail so we don't give away victories because of not throwing challenge flags.
So that's what he would write on the grease board, essentially?
Yeah, I sort of say Rex. Challenge flag, challenge flag, challenge flag,
right.
detail. Honestly, if there is something like that. But, hey, I got to give respect for Ryan because he has embraced the community in a major way. And despite the criticism of him from around the league, I think that the fact that he went to Buffalo showed that there's real seriousness in the direction of the team and going in the right direction. And look, our good friend Mel Kiper Jr. said we had the worst draft in the NFL, and now Darby could very much maybe be the Pro Bowl if not being Rookie of the Year. And Carlos Williams was a stud when he's not hurt, and Miller on the line is fantastic.
Luke Russert joining me here. So and this is a big game this week. LaShawn McCoy with the Bills goes to Philadelphia.
Oh.
I mean, this is, and Rex, he's already playing it up. He's already playing it up that LaShawn's going to go back.
Of course he is, and we just hope that the Eagles revert back to what they were before they were in Foxborough last week, looking incredible. But we'll see. I think it would be very Chip Kelly this season to beat the Patriots and then lose to the Bills at home the following week. I want to read the Philadelphia papers after that.
Well, Luke, I appreciate you putting Speaker Ryan on hold to come on this show. Telling
you know what's funny, Rich, is actually true, is when I tweet things out about Ryan, I have a lot of Bills fans that go back at me and going, what the heck are you talking about? And I've had to make the differentiation between when I'm talking about Rex, it's Rex. When I'm saying Ryan, it's the Speaker himself.
Yes, and then Paul Ryan is the one who made IK Enemkpali a captain for some appropriations meeting. It's very strange, Luke.
And the Speaker today was very happy. He was talking about that Hail Mary, Rodgers to Rodgers.
I'm
big Packers fan.
No, I'm sure he was. Hey, Luke, again, congrats on this 30 for 30 and your collaboration with NFL Films. Let's chat again real soon, okay?
Hey, Rich, thanks so much for having me on. And Saturday, 9:30, be there after the Heisman Trophy.
We will do that. Hey, by the way, great lead-in programming too, Luke. You know, you can't ask for anything.
Absolutely.
All right, Luke, you got it. That's Luke Russert here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.